What's a good word, everyone? It's your boy DKB here. I just want to say thanks for all the support. The channel's been steadily growing, and the number you see below, you can drop a text, shoot a voicemail, any ideas, topics, collabs, etc. you guys want to see. I'll include them in future videos and live streams, and I'll catch you again. Be easy. What's a good word, Jets fans? It's your boy DKB here, and even though Aaron Glenn has been on a bit of a hot streak here, right? You're talking about winning, 3 of the last 5 games. You're talking about a resurgence of the defense, at least in terms of having an acceptable product out there on the field. And the offense under Tyrod Taylor is looking like it's turning over the way you'd expect with a lot of these young weapons. Tyrod Taylor and the veteran leadership that he's giving, the catchable balls, throwing receivers open, giving these guys a shot on some of these 50-50 opportunities. But the focal point that Aaron Glenn has pointed out numerous times, and one of the key pieces that would allow us to continue to have success on the offensive side, is the offensive line. And many of us have had questions about how do we keep the most important pieces intact while also being able to add to it. And we're not expecting for once to really have to spend top tier resources in order to feel like we're walking into next year with a great line, right? At the minimum, you're expecting 3 of the 5 positions, and the third one is really the one that's up for grabs, right? And this centers around Joe Tippmann. What is he going to be in the future for the New York Jets? Is he a center? Is he a guard? Is this someone that they are willing to play the versatility game with? Or do they want to find a home and settle in and get away from that AVT type scenario with someone like Joe Tippmann? It looks like we at least have a early indicator and sign of that. I was listening to Badlands or Turn on the Jets, one of the two, if not it being the same thing. But Connor Rogers was talking, and as Parkinson? Is that the other guy? No. The other guy's name is escaping me, right? But they were essentially going through his early list of the top 10 players for the New York Jets season so far. And as he was ranking them and they got to Joe Tippmann on there, Connor Rogers actually enlightened us with a bit of background info around the plans for Joe Tippmann, right? He mentioned that there's 0 plans. Well, for one, he highlighted the fact that according to what he's heard, right, he didn't quote this being from sources, anybody within the building, etc. So for all we know, this could be conversations directly with members of the staff at some point, or what he's heard as he's floating around the building, or maybe with just talking with people throughout the industry. But he did say there's 0 plans to ever play Joe Tippmann at center again unless there was an emergency scenario. And so this creates some excitement. This also creates an interesting scenario for us, right? When you look at the offensive line, we have Olu Fashanu, who we should feel really, really good about. Armand Mimbu, who we should feel ecstatic about with what he's done in his rookie season. So much so that you have a lot of these guys pushing for the fact that he could potentially win an Offensive Player of the Year award, right? Where a lot of candidates started hot, and then due to injury, due to, performance, rookie walls, whatever you want to call it, a lot of these guys have fallen off, whereas Armand Mimbu has been at an upper tier for a pretty significant duration of the season, right? And then you have Joe Tippmann. John Simpson was a guy that most of us should have felt really, really good about as the early portions of the season progressed. And he's fallen off a little bit, but I still really, really like him. But it's not like he's a piece that will fall apart with if we don't have, right? I think what he provided in terms of his leadership on the line was definitely necessary. And then you're talking about center, right? Do we want to return, who we have out there right now? If it's on a cheap contract, you can definitely make that argument, right? But if we are talking about Joe Tippmann being at guard, which, by the way, he's been killing it. It doesn't show up in all of the grading metrics and such, but the man has been 100% phenomenal. Pairing up with the Armand Mimbu, talking about 2 extremely athletic guys for the positions that they're playing, there's a ton that you can do. And as they continue to be able to build experience together and things like that, you get a tight end that maybe is a more capable blocker on that side, right? sky's the limit when you want to talk about being able to rush off of the right side of the line. Hugely big. I'm so happy about the current status of this. And again, the fact that we don't have to spend a first or second round pick necessarily. If a guy falls and the value just happens to be great there, in my mock draft, for example, the 2-round mock draft I did, we could have went with Maui Goa, right? The tackle who many people feel like would be better served converting to guard. That would be an option, upgrade over John Simpson, for example, etc. But it's not a necessity, which is really the huge piece there. And when you want to look at what Joe Tippmann has done, just looking at some of the numbers that are out there, an 84.0 pass blocking grade between weeks 7 to 13. This has him as the 4th ranked guard in the league during his time span for any guard that's played at least 50% of the snaps. When you look at PFF, they have him as the 71st out of 79 guards in terms of penalties. And at least if I'm understanding it correctly, I think that is positive news. It means he's one of the least penalized guards. He's 76th to 79th in sacks. Again, I would assume that metric means that's a good thing for him. But we'll see. If not, it is what it is. I just wanted to highlight everything as a whole. He's 22nd as a run blocker, though, and he's 32nd as a pass blocker. So even if you just want to take those at face value and say, I'm looking at a low-end starting caliber guard here for a guy that's not his natural position and that got thrust into this without any significant level of practice before the season, is huge. And when you look again at what he's been doing, especially in recent weeks, as he continues to get comfortable, continues to grow, continues to work with Mimbu, sky feels like it's the limit for him. There's definitely, for as many people that love him at center, there's just as many people, if not more, that are pushing for his ceiling being higher playing at the guard position. So this does create some kind of interesting conversations. Rodgers also pointed out the fact that you can't roll out maybe wanting to work out an early contract with Tippmann and buy as low as you possibly can, knowing that he's riding high, which definitely should be part of the discussions this offseason. Not saying you need to jump on it, right? But it's definitely better to be ahead of the curve on these things and seeing how well he's acquiesced himself to the guard position with all of the factors that were working against him. I have to imagine that the staff, Steve Hyden, Eric Glenn, Tanner Engstrand, they're feeling really, really good about his future here. What does that mean for us at center, though? Again, do we want to re-sign who we currently have? This center class coming out isn't highly touted, but it doesn't mean that you can't find someone that clicks and really, really works for your system, right? But we'll have to see how all that plans out or plays out anyways, if what Connor Rodgers here is saying is true, and we do see a commitment to him being the guard of the future on this offensive line, which, again, no matter what position you put him in my opinion, I'd be extremely, extremely excited about what his upside is and his future prospects. But let me know what you guys think. Joe Tippmann, do you want him at center? Do you want him at guard? And how do you think we should play the offseason when it comes to trying to find our next center? Do we want to go the cheap route? Do we want to prefer to bring in a veteran? Do we want to bring a veteran and try to sign a young guy and see if we can develop someone in the wings? Let me know what you guys think. I'll catch you guys again. Peace.